welcome to this video cast for subscribers to davidicke.com. Well, I'm going to take some more questions this week, and they kind of fall into a theme. There's some asking about religion. There's one asking about the connection between a religion and Freemasonry, and another one talks about politics and uses the term neoliberal. And so the theme I'm going with here is labels, because labels obscure unity. When you start to realize that the labels are overwhelmingly just names, masks for the same force. And so before I get into the questions in detail, I think it would be good to lay out how the few can control the many. Because when people like me say the world's controlled by a few people, the obvious comeback is that's not possible. There's 7 billion people that can't do that. Well, you can. And I spent a long time when I started on this trail, this journey, putting together the structure of how it's done. Because, you know, you can see the world like a jigsaw puzzle with pieces all over the floor. And what a lot of people do when they're putting a jigsaw together is they try to find all those with straight edges, and they create the frame in which the other pieces go. And the more pieces you put in, of course, the clearer the picture becomes. And looking at how the world's controlled, in terms of my own research anyway, has been very much like that. I asked the question at the start, who controls world events? And then the question was, how is it done? And it's when you realize how it's done that suddenly you realize that it can be done. And it can be done with the vast majority of people, even those involved in the structure, having no idea what they're part of and what they're contributing to every day. And the structure can be symbolized as a spider's web, or it can be symbolized as a pyramid. Either way works. We take the spider's web, first of all. If you think of each strand in the web as being an organization that is either secret, semi-secret, or out in the public domain, which we kind of know about, take each of those organizations to be a strand in the web. And then, in the center of the web, is the spider. And the spider is the force that I've been exposing in my books for a long, long time. And from the spider comes the impetus and the source for the direction of human society. And because it's playing out through this web of endless secret societies, semi-secret groups, and in the public domain, organizations, governments, and agencies, the unity, the unified source is obviously, to the vast majority who haven't done the research, hidden. It seems random. It seems like it's just happening without coordination. In other words, it looks like the pieces in the jigsaw all over the floor or all over the table. They're just pieces. But when you put the pieces together, world events become very clear. There's basically three things that we need to know to understand what's going on. Well, three basic things, lots of things on top of that. One, how is it done? Two, what is the goal? The desired outcome. And three, how do they get us there? There's a fourth, of course, who the hell's doing it, which is what I expose in the books. So, how do they do it? Well, you've got the spider in the center of the web that is dictating policy. Where do they want to take us? They want a world, fascist, communist, whichever way you want to call it, Orwellian global state of total control, overseeing a slave population. And by that, I mean almost everyone. It's what I call the Hunger Games society, where you've got the less than 1% dictating events, a police state, merciless police state, which we're seeing unfolding all the time, imposing the will of the less than 1% upon the rest of the population, the slaves. And by that, I mean people who, at the moment, think they're doing well and have got plenty of money and, they've not got nothing to worry about. It's not their problem what it is. Because if you're not in the less than 1%, they want your wealth and your security and your independence as well. And so that's what they want. And how they get us there is by manipulating events from the spider source through this web, so that these unfolding changes in society appear to be, that word again, random. They appear to be unconnected, but they're not. They're all heading in the same direction if you put the pieces together. So let's look a bit more about how it's done. You've got the spider in the center of the web. This is this force that I expose in the books. If you look at the strands immediately around the spider, they are the most exclusive secret societies. They often don't have names because it's much more difficult to uncover things that don't have names. They are incredibly secret and incredibly exclusive. And they interact with the spider. You come out from the spider and you're now into secret societies that we've heard of. The Freemasons, Knights of Malta, the Jesuits, the Opus Dei, and all the rest of it. But they too are compartmentalized structures where, as with the structure as a whole, only those deep in the shadows actually know what those secret societies are really about. Most of the membership do not. That's not the case with the exclusive ones. They all bloody know. But I mean the ones that we see. So when they say it's the Freemasons, it's not the Freemasons. It is those controlling the Freemasons, using the Freemasons and its networks as a vehicle, with the vast majority of Freemasons completely unaware. Not saying they don't do some unpleasant things in their secrecy, but completely unaware of the big picture and what's really working through their networks. And then, as you come out from the spider through those secret societies that we've heard of, you start to see and meet this, what I call the cusp position, where the hidden meets the seen. Obviously, within secret societies, things are hidden, and with the exclusive secret societies, they're completely bloody hidden. But then you meet this point this cusp. And that's where you get things like the Bilderberg Group, where they gather politicians and bankers and business people and intelligence people and all these different aspects of the web together to coordinate this common direction for society. Now, some of the people involved in the Bilderberg Group will know the big picture. Most of them won't. Most of them won't. These that come and go to a few meetings and then disappear, they won't know. And from that cusp where the hidden meets the seen of the Bilderberg Group, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, these sorts of organizations, which are all connected, you then go into the scene. You're now into corporations, you're into governments, you're into government agencies, you're into the military, the Pentagon, you're into the intelligence networks, the NSA, GCHQ in Britain, and all these. And the policies in the scene that are played out in changes in society, changes in laws, changes in direction, they appear to be coming from the politicians. But where it all started was back with the spider. And among these organizations in the scene are religions. There's one or two questions about this week. And religions are there to limit people, to limit their sense of self and sense of the world, to give their power away. Because when the few are controlling the many, the few can only control the many if the many give the power to the few. And there are many and various ways in which humanity is manipulated to give its power away. And religion is a classic. Everything you need to know is between these two covers. And how God wants you to live, what it wants you to know, what he wants you to know, it's always he, what you should be supporting, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, is all there for you in the words of some guy in a frock who is telling you what God wants. And it doesn't matter if it's a priest, a rabbi, a bishop, imam, they're all the bloody same. They're in that pivotal position between the perceived God, the source of worship, and the congregation. So when I say that this whole conspiracy is, in the title of my last book, a perception deception, that is what it is. Because the few cannot control the many physically. Well, not yet anyway. There's too many. They have to get the population to behave in the desired fashion so this Orwellian global nightmare can play out to its outcome. And how do you get people to behave a certain way? You get them to perceive a certain way. You get them to believe a certain way. And then their behavior comes from that. I mean, why do people behave in the way they do? Because they are playing out in behavior their perceptions of a situation, of a world, of a self. So it's a perception deception, and religions are wonderful vehicles for programming and limiting perception.